Justin McCumber is going to review The Devil Inside, this latest American cinema genius work of fiction. Take it away, Justin. Was this movie worth a shit?
All right, I love the found footage type movies, whether it's, just straight found footage sort of things like Paranormal Activity, where it's just cameras rolling, or the fake documentary style movies like The Last Exorcism, Last Exorcist, or to a certain degree, Blair Witch. It's kind of a fake documentary. I love that style, and especially for horror, I think it works extremely well because it creates a feeling of verisimilitude that you don't get with a lot of CGI, or you get with a lot of camera tricks. You get in camera, it feels real, and it really works. So when I saw that The Devil Inside was coming out, and I watched a trailer for it, I was fairly excited. It's about exorcisms and possession, which, me being practically an atheist, I have no belief in whatsoever, yet when it's in a movie, I buy it, I'm into it, I'm scared shitless, it works. It's found footage, so everything about this movie really had me going. And I was excited to see it. And the movie starts off really well, because it starts off with this 911 call, and it begins by telling you that back in 1989, this woman called 911, and you hear the phone call where she says that she's killed 3 people, and you see the news footage of the reports going on, and then you see footage from these police officers who go into the house to investigate this call and find out what's going on, and you see these 2 priests and a nun in this basement that have just been bludgeoned to death. And it's really creepy, and it really works, and I loved that feeling of being just dropped into a nice horror story. And you discover that she was possessed, or they say she was possessed. It was in this exorcism, and she killed the 3 people who were performing that exorcism and then called the police. The Vatican, or the Catholic Church, said that this was an unsanctioned exorcism, and so they had nothing to do with it. But when the woman was found innocent while being on trial for reasons of insanity, the Catholic Church brought her to Rome and put her into an asylum. They never really say if it's because they're doing it out of sympathy or if they're doing it to make up for some wrongdoing. They just kind of say, the Vatican did it, we don't kind of know why, and they move on.
Okay.
The movie itself, though, is a documentary about her daughter, because this woman's daughter wants to know what happened to her mother all those years ago that she's had to live without. What's going on? Was she really possessed? Is she crazy? And so she hires this guy to film a documentary, and they fly to Rome. They go to this college where they teach exorcism, and she hooks up with a couple of friars, Catholic friars, who are performing exorcisms on people that the church has said are not possessed, but they feel like they are. And so as the movie starts, it starts really high. Let's say it starts between 1 and 10. It starts at a good 6.
I was going to say, you got me so far.
And I'm really enjoying it. But then it starts to decline because it starts to get really fucking boring. Nothing goes on. She's going to Rome. You see all sorts of footage of her driving around and talking with people. There's all sorts of just nothing but slowness for a good long while. So it dips down to about 3. And that's where it stays for a bit. But then you get to the first real tension, because you get to this first exorcism. It's a good exorcism. It's exciting. I liked the camera angles. I liked a lot of the things that they said, the sorts of effects they put into it. So boom, it jumps from a 3 up to about a 5 to a 6. I'm starting to enjoy this movie. And then it kind of goes down again. But then they get to another exorcism and boom, it jumps back up. This one's even better. It's hitting like a 6 or a 7. And then it kind of dips down again because suddenly it's like the exorcisms are where they're putting all of their writing, or they're putting all of their effort, but everything in between them, they're just kind of phoning it in. And it really dips down in quality. It stays that way for a good long while, and I'm really starting to feel frustrated because this sort of movie should be working for me. It should be an easy sell for me. They don't have to put a lot of effort, and somehow they put in even less than, they need to. And I'm bored shitless. and it's getting close to the end, and I'm kind of looking at my watch going, fuck, how much more of this do I have to put up with? I spent good money, and I'm really just, I could be at home doing all sorts of shit, much more entertaining than this. But then something happens, and my right eyebrow kind of shoots up, and I'm like, I didn't see that coming. And
then
it
goes, a stroke?
I almost kind of wish. But no, it takes a turn. And I didn't see this turn coming, and it really brought me back up again to about a good 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make another turn with it. And then I'm up to a 6. And then they keep turning the wheel in this completely unexpected direction. I love where they're going with this. It is an incredible change of pace, and I didn't see it coming, and I love it when a movie surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going from a 3 to a 6 to a 7 to an 8, and it's getting close to the end, and this thing's hitting a 9 because it is really hitting something I never saw coming. And then it just fucking ends. It just ends.
I'm confused.
That's it. It ends. It goes black. A little message pops up that says, if you'd like to learn more about this, please go to this website.
What?
And that's it.
You don't get an ending?
You get nothing.
Which normally we try really hard not to spoil the movies, but
nothing. I mean, it ends on this. It could have gone, what the fuck, and it ended in what the hell. It just disappeared. Everybody in the theater just started calling out to the screen like, are you fucking serious? Was that the end? And people were either laughing or they were grumbling, but nobody was happy. Me most of all. The movie, if they had just had the courage to continue where they were going, I think it really could have redeemed itself in the end and made for an incredibly compelling franchise that they could have maybe carried on somehow, but they didn't. It's like they either ran out of ideas or they ran out of balls. Because either way, this ending completely drops the ball. You're left with no resolution. There's not even an area for resolution. It just stops. And I was so pissed off when I left. If I could have driven to the producer and director's house and punched the shit out of him, I would have.
I've actually heard this a lot about the ending.
Yeah, me too.
It is the worst ending I have ever said. It is seen. It's an insult to the audience.
So you
And the fact that this movie made so much money, its opening weekend, drives me insane. Because now I bet you this film is going to get another movie in its franchise, because it's so cheap to make, it's so easy to make money. But hopefully it's only going to be that first week, and then when people hear about how terrible this movie is, especially the ending, hopefully it doesn't make any more money, because it is fucking awful.
Oh, it's already dropped to number 2, and it was a huge number 1. It was like, I think it was almost double what Mission Impossible 2 made over the weekend, but it went ba-doom.
Oh, it's infuriating. And of course then, you text me and say you're wanting to go see the movie, should you? And I don't want to spoil how I felt about it, because I knew I'd be doing the review for it, but I don't want people wasting their money. If you're listening to this movie, or to this podcast, do not go see this movie. Do not rent it. You are missing, unless you like being pissed off, or you just got, so much money that it doesn't matter. Do not waste your time or your money on this film. It is an insult to you, and they're basically spitting in your face.
I'm curious, Justin, with your comment, you said you kind of wish they had the courage, they wish they had the balls to continue with the direction they were going. Now, without giving anything away, is it because of the way the story was going? Like they were touching on a subject that might have been a little faux pas? Is that what you mean, or?
It's because they took the supernatural premise and they were spinning it past where it was into areas that I don't frequently see in any medium. It's a possession film where in most films, once the person who is possessed is successfully exorcised, then it's over with. In this film, where they were ending it, that's just the beginning. But then they completely dropped the ball. They had this great idea, and it's like they're like, I don't know what to do with it. And on one hand, I feel kind of sympathetic, because what they were doing really kind of took the lid off, and there was almost nowhere you couldn't go with that. But when you're presented with that many ways of doing it, I can see how you could maybe lock up. It's all suddenly, what do we do? which direction do we go? But if you don't have the courage or the intelligence or the imagination to carry it forward, then just don't go there at all. And I feel like I just got half a tug in the back seat, and then they just walked off. It's ridiculous.
So, like, they open it up for a sequel, or they open it up for you to go click on their website?
No, he's saying it's done.
Well, no, they could, if they wanted to, they could carry this on. But if they do it, they're going to have to completely readdress how this movie ended, because it gives you no sense of what could be happening. You don't know who's alive. You don't know who's dead. You don't know what's going to happen to them. You know nothing. At least at the end of Paranormal Activity 1, you saw who was still around at the end of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had a sense of what they might be able to do.
So you get that feeling that they were kind of going for that Paranormal Activity crapshoot with this, like, since they had such a low budget, you're gonna see what happens, and then if it paid off, they might try to keep going. Maybe
if they did, they completely missed the ball.
It's too bad. I was excited about it.
Sounds more like Blair Witch.
And see, I actually liked
I like
the Blair
Blair
Witch
Witch
ending because I liked that sudden surprise of seeing that guy standing in the corner, hearing the scream, watching the camera drop. I could see what you're saying, Brian. That ending is also very abrupt, but at least I feel like that abrupt ending was earned.
Right.
And I feel like I know what happened to these people. But this movie, I have no idea what the fuck happened.
It's
No
like the
idea.
battery died in the girl's camera before you saw the guy standing behind her.
Kind of, yeah.
It just shut off.
Yeah, it's like she ran into the house and then the camera just shut off.
Yeah, that would be
That sort of ending. It's infuriating.
And I've heard that a lot about this movie. A lot.
I want my fucking money back.
So that's out of $10. That's what you
Out of $10, I want a refund.
gotcha.
Wow,
that bad.
bad.
All right. Well, I guess
The popcorn sucked too, but still, that movie sucked.
first movie of 2012, and Justin might have his worst already.
I hope this is the worst.
If you find one worse than this, it's going to be a fun review.
I have a seizure.